Yeah, right?
He's a very strange
I don't
guy.
fucking know where you live. I don't want to go there.
We're all strange guys here on Ancient Wisdom.
Boom.
Woo! And welcome back to Ancient Wisdom. We're here. We're doing our thing. Oh my God, we have mistakes already. And guys, I'm gay and retarded. But I mean, it's the world we live in. What are we gonna do? Can you help me? Can you help me? Like heal myself? Be cured from my incurable disease, so they say.
It's a lot of outside pressure.
I know. I feel the pressure. It's closing in on me.
It's making you gay and, that other thing.
That other thing that we got to be careful about saying. But I'll bleep it out. What else are my intro lines? I say stuff like, welcome. I say this is episode 22.
Yeah.
Am I going well so far?
Yeah, you're going good, man.
The best intro is like, what is my intro again? That's right.
That's
right.
That's going to be the thing.
We're formulating it as we go. Oh, yeah. So my new thought here is that ancient wisdom is really to bring out your deep side. So think. Everyone here, and of course our viewers as well. Comment. We didn't get a comment last week that were to change Evan's background because I think that's what he won in our Wheel of Wisdom over here. The Wheel of Wisdom. There it is. But the word today is numinous. Has anyone heard this word? There it is.
Numinous.
Our beautiful assistant Marco will point to it. Numinous. Marco has not heard of this. Anyone else?
Sounds like new things amongst you.
New among us. There's the new among us.
Like numbers. More.
I said that too.
Numbers.
But the robot says it's not related at all. Marco's shaking his head. Nope. Get that head shake.
Nope.
He said that is not true. Wow.
Of the earth? Fire?
Of the clouds.
No? Close. Where do you get of the earth? How do you break that down?
I like his idea of the clouds.
Is it? Of the clouds.
That's noob.
Oh.
Nubius. Está nublado.
No, that's cumulonimbus.
Yeah. Noob is cloud.
Nubian. That's like something in Africa.
Yeah.
We're getting close.
Wakanda.
Numinous. What did they have in Africa? The Egyptians. What did Egyptians have? Gods. What were the Egyptians' gods? It was relating to religion. That's as close as I'm going to get for you guys.
Numerology.
Marco?
Numinous refers to a feeling of awe, reverence, or sense of the divine or spiritual presence.
Oh.
It often describes an experience that transcends ordinary understanding and can evoke a profound sense of wonder. Never felt something like that in my life. I'm just going to go ahead and say
Marco,
that. Not even close.
I have no idea what that
Not
means.
even close.
No, really?
That's probably why I have no idea what it means, but yeah.
Not even if it's like you like. Can that go with like? Oh, you feel like the presence of a ghost. You know.
What was the word? Spiritual.
Yeah,
I guess
spiritual.
so.
Spirit,
You know,
Because
because it's that. Because like he said, wonder. Like now, I wonder what's there. If you feel this weird presence,
Right.
You know what
I feel
I'm
like that's always your mind playing tricks on you. I've never
Oh my God,
walked away
Marco.
with it. I don't know.
Have some sense of fun.
Damn.
Have some sense of wonder, Marco.
Oh my
Numinous.
God. Numinous. Let us be numinous today. Connect with the spirits. Yeah, we got a lot of spiritual topics to get into. And Marco's theory of this present and Marco not believing in these spirits, or should I say not having any numinous experiences, I mean, leads me to say that we should start off with some challenging theology. Did you guys know that a lobster sheds its skin?
No.
It molts like a fucking bird.
A bug. Birds
Yeah.
don't molt.
Yeah,
Do they?
yeah. Birds molt feathers, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess a lot of these animals be molting. Shedding their skins from reptiles to crustaceans, all this stuff. And supposedly they say in the lobsters in particular, it's a very painful process. And I says, what is more telling? What is more beautiful or analogous to perhaps growth or the psychedelic experience? You literally need to shed your old skin, which may be a painful process, to create the new self, which is more comfortable and more at home in the new you that has grown into this new space. Deep.
That's very deep.
Yeah, especially the painful process. Is that not like a psychedelic
Yeah,
experience? It's just
100%.
like most of the time you need to go through that hell. But change happens regardless, does it not? We grow, we expand. It's not always positive growth for sure.
Oh, yeah. That's life. You know, you'll have your, ups and downs,
If we ain't going up,
we going down.
something like that.
Something like that. I was fucking staring right at it.
Right, you get
If
a
we going
fat
up, we
point.
ain't going down.
Yeah, right. I gotta get back into hosting, giving points. What's up?
Isn't that exactly why I feel like I actually don't think people change too often.
Oh, you
I
think
think
it's
it takes
pretty
like
static mostly?
I think it takes a really big thing for someone to change.
I agree with that.
trauma and some kind of
Okay.
death or
I agree.
something big, whatever that means to a person too. It can be different. It can be like a lack of money or no direction in life or whatever
Losing
it can
someone.
be.
It's all different. I definitely agree with you there.
Everything else is.
However, when it does happen, it's super impactful.
Oh yeah.
The rare case, like you see a change in someone where you're like, you can't help but just give a nod.
Sometimes it does happen, and that's always when it's the most powerful.
But then there could be good changes.
There's always
too.
exceptions to every rule too.
There could be good changes. There could be bad changes.
Yeah.
That's all about how how you live your life.
So
Sorry,
I'm
Mitch's
gonna
face is
fight
red.
you fuckers right now.
Oh,
I'm gonna fight you to the death because what you're describing is big changes. You said people don't change unless big things happen, but I think people are always changing, but they just change big when big things happen.
Oh fuck! I agree with you there
Oh!
too. Damn it! You
Is
guys
that
are
not
making
a
all
hot
good
take?
points. That's a
Point
hot
for me.
Hot
Oh.
fucking take, dude. Because
Thank
that's
you, dog.
also true.
Is that not true?
That's
'Cause
very true.
Maybe I learned that 2 + 2 = 4 when I'm 3 years old or something. Am I not now changed? Do I not have more knowledge? Are my neurons not rewired?
that's changed forever when
That's
you
a
learn
forever
2 + 2
change.
= 4.
Now, my eyes are open. I can see.
This is this.
Wait,
Boom,
so
comes
which row
together.
is improving?
Whoa, I didn't use that word, did I?
I'm sorry. I had to go there. If
I
you're,
wouldn't go
if
there.
you're learning something
getting
new
back on
every
the robot
day,
talk.
then it means you're changing. That
Whoa,
means in some way
changing.
you're improving.
That's
I don't
We're
wanna
making
get-
you change.
I'm gonna go back
Okay,
to
well,
Ryan.
I guess it doesn't have to be
I don't
positive,
usually do
right?
this, but it doesn't have to be positive. You
It
got
can
it,
be negative.
pal.
All right, fine.
And improvement, it's like improvement to who? You know,
Yeah,
I'm
what if
gonna
it's
go.
a bad improvement? You're working on again, going back to robots and AIs.
I guess
you
you're
do an
just
improvement.
But then-
it
gaining
can be
more
wrong.
information every day. So in some
That's
sense,
true. You're
changing.
learning
Maybe.
something. You can be learning something.
But
new
hold the
every day.
phone. Let me hit you with some Taoist philosophy because
Oh,
they
man.
say those who truly grow forget something new every day.
Ooh, oh fuck, man! These are all
Deep.
fucking damn.
All right. See, it hits you right away.
This is a
You're like,
learning
I feel
episode
it.
for me,
Yeah.
man. I might not be saying much, but oh, fuck, you
you're
guys
in it.
are
Hell
all
yeah.
over the fucking
One might
board.
say you're changing.
I'm
even as
learning,
we
dude.
speak.
I'm learning
Oh,
something every
damn.
day.
You're shedding
Feeling the
something.
spirits
I'm
of the
shedding
ancient.
the old.
I'm feeling the
ancient
Ryan's
wisdom.
feeling the ancient spirits right now.
Yeah, fuck, man.
He's
If these
swimming
people
in
don't
it.
subscribe, I'm not gonna. I guess.
He's gonna
That's
cease
right.
to exist. if you don't
Subscribe to ancient
subscribe.
wisdom.
Subscribe
He's gonna
and
cease to exist. He just disappears right now.
Oh, fade me out slowly.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Once we get oh shit, where'd it go? Once
You
we
didn't
get better
subscribe.
effects.
You didn't subscribe. Yeah,
Damn,
and shedding
you
it.
didn't subscribe.
for every subscriber.
Please.
Ryan's dead.
For
Bring it
every
back.
subscriber, I get to fade in little by little
That's
each
right.
episode.
We'll make your head a little bit
Ryan's
bigger.
power's almost back.
Or I'm just ahead, then
We'll
I'm
put
ahead in
space
an arm.
face. Yeah,
Oh, man.
bring back
Space
space
I gotta wear an
face.
all green
But
shirt.
your head will just get bigger each
Yeah, yeah,
episode
yeah.
until it's the whole background.
But
No,
speaking of forgetting a new thing every day or unlearning something, yeah, you're just shedding something you thought you knew. So it wasn't really unlearning something.
Now that's deep. That's a fat point,
What
Evan.
it-
Shedding something you thought you knew, because can we ever know?
So what I hear you saying,
Oh, Ryan gets a fat point. Look at that.
shedding something that you may have known, like let's say you know something, but then you actually learn about that something you think you know about.
Reframing.
Like yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Reframe.
solidifying or any
Yeah.
one of those fun words.
Yeah.
Yeah, reframing is always good too because maybe you think you have the whole pie, but you're missing a slice, and maybe you don't even know. It's the unknown they call it.
Yeah.
That's another
Could
Old
be
philosopher.
missing some whipped
Sounds like-
topping.
I don't want to
To
talk
me.
about the
Oh my God!
Who knows
You
what's
could
in
get
the
worse.
unknown?
But see, then we have to change our definition completely. Margot says it sounds like improvement to me. I'll fight it still because it's like then it goes based on the observer. If I want to be Fred Durst, I could go towards it just because he drew a picture of that before.
I
could
should've raised
improve toward it every day, and I'll be like, I'm improving. I'm more like Fred Durst every day.
Yeah.
But then Fred Durst is like, fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
I'm Fred Durst. I don't think he's improving at all. I think he's becoming worse. Feel me? It's all about the perspective. Improve to who? And that's a huge one too. We can't actually, to believe in the word improve, I would argue, means you have to believe in the word God. I'm putting it out there. I'll say it. Anyone want to fight me? Hit that. Oh, Marco's giving me a face.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not religious, but
Because improve toward what? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And improving in your eyes might be you diminishing in someone else's eyes.
Exactly. It's
Like,
all relative.
you might be feeling better and getting better spiritually or whatever, things are going well for you, but someone else could see like, look at that guy thinking he's getting better. What a piece of shit.
Yeah, and there are people that are resentful. We'll get to that too.
See, I'm not religious, but I would say I'm my own observer because I want to do things for me, not for some higher power for anybody else. I want to, you know what I'm saying?
You sound like a girl that wears makeup just for me.
Oh no,
do it for
those
me.
girls will say that, but it's
Yeah.
not for them.
I
just want to
That's how I
feel
feel about you
beautiful to
saying that right
myself.
They're lying. I'm telling the
I don't
truth.
give a shit what people think about me. I'll do what I want.
Deep, because I only care about what I think.
Yeah. Like, I don't need some fucking higher power to tell me how I need to live.
Oh,
So you're saying you have to believe in God to believe in improvement, but what about things that can just be kind of quantified? Ryan mentioned or made the analogy of he unlearned something that he, I guess, reworked in his head or refigured out. So that means that we must objectively know a correct answer. So he is improving because he is moving closer to knowledge on something. So you can put that all on a scale. You can say, I am improving in my knowledge. And then, Evan, you can say perspective, and then that because I'm improving here, I'm giving less time to say that's my wife, and I'm not improving my relationship. That has to go down because I'm improving here. But I'm still improving somewhere. Like there's still a positive delta somewhere. So that is improvement in that skill. Doesn't take away from everything else, and it also uses perspective. In that perspective, I am improving.
so how about this, Marco? How about this, right? I think a lot of atheists don't like to use the word God. But I think we could all agree, let's see if we do all agree, that there's always something to move toward if there is, in fact, an improvement. Oh my God, am I arguing for improvement? I don't think so. We'll find out.
Continuous improvement.
Find out next episode. No, but instead, I think a lot of the times these atheists use the word ideal. God as the ideal, right? Because we all have this image of what improvement could be working towards. I would say most people think in their heart toward a godly nature, but some people just stop at the word ideal. How I would like to be in the future. Kind of like what Ryan said, actually. How I see myself. Fuck any divine creature that would judge me. I want to know that I'm best for myself. But then there's still an ideal, right? I could still say that's a divine idea. The idea is a divine idea.
Why is it a divine ideal?
Then that would be saying, not to cut you off,
Go for it.
saying that I am my own God because I'm doing,
Oh,
I'm
I think
doing
Ryan
it.
hit the nail on the head. There's always a God. But who is that God? If we're moving towards something and we need to move towards something to actually improve based on our definition, what are we moving towards? You say it doesn't have to be a person, it could be a concept like knowledge, but is not knowledge just man-made?
I want
Cannot numbers be wrong,
I said
quantum?
in this. So about like when you become your sense of self, or when you've gained your sense of self. Like,
Right, how to become who we are.
It's not like a godly idea. I guess you're going towards whatever you think, based on all you've seen in your life, what your quote unquote ideal version of yourself is. And the idea would be to move towards that. Not everyone does that, but that's the ideal way.
Right.
Like
We
leveling
all
up in a fucking video
change,
game or something.
but we don't
Like, you
improve.
move your account or level up your things in a way that you get to where you want to be.
Right.
Yeah.
That's improvement.
That's improvement.
That is improvement.
Yeah.
I don't think you can use gaining knowledge as a synonym for improving. I think they're totally different, because to gain knowledge, it's like there's no end. It's to no end except for the mere fact of gaining knowledge. But like improvement is gaining the spiritual knowledge. I think, was that the term Brian used?
Right,
earlier?
I agree. It's a cyclical definition, right? You say knowledge and you improve the knowledge, but to improve in knowledge, you have to improve in knowledge.
And you can't take knowledge with you, and if you're using all your time for knowledge, there's no living either.
And knowledge
That's a good
is
point.
never ending.
Yeah.
There's always something new.
It's always going. It's continuous. You know, are you really? I mean, you're improving like mentally with the knowledge, but like other things.
Damn. So if knowledge is infinite, is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Then there's always somewhere to go. Then it is not a defined field at all.
And if you
Then
and
we
if-
can't say
sorry.
knowledge exists. I mean, I'm sure Mark will say, but what
Because
about
everything-
numbers,
no,
right? It's
everything
all
exists.
infinite. What's that?
Yeah, everything then exists. If knowledge is infinite, then just everything exists. So, like, actually, you said we're always changing, and I brought up improvement, but it's kind of. I feel like this falls into itself, and they just kind of are the same thing. Where you're always changing, and you can call it improvement, you can call it whatever you want, you can call it not improvement because it's just a change somewhere. It doesn't matter where it is, but you're always
Right.
moving toward something else because we're all moving forward in time, I guess, in a weird way.
And then we're all
Right.
physically changing, inside, outside, mentally, physically. You know, we're always forever changing.
That's
But
true.
we don't know if knowledge is infinite, though. We know a very small amount. That's all we know that we know.
But we still
Right.
know. We know,
Oh.
but we're always still learning more.
The best argument I've ever heard against this, though, is when you said to me, okay, assume knowledge is not infinite. Now you know everything.
Yeah.
What the fuck's the point?
Yeah.
Exactly, because I want to say
Oh.
there's infinite things to learn, so it's crazy to try to define or learn God because he's the inventor of knowledge itself. And that's why I think Adam and Eve were told not to eat from the tree of knowledge or whatever it was, because you won't be satiated ever.
Satiated. Interesting.
So you might as well go for the deeper spiritual peace and knowledge.
And just being limited beings, I always think about, I think in high school it really hit me. I says, I'll never, even if I tried, be able to listen to every song that was ever written.
Yeah.
You just couldn't do it. We are temporal beings. If I pressed play right now, by the time I died, I couldn't even hear it at the time of starting.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of funny how that works. But yeah, you know, but I will go back and say that improvement itself seems to be this cyclical definition, because to improve sort of takes, I think it takes two things. No, it takes three things. Let's agree on a definition, right? Where something is, where something could be, and in between there's a should get there.
I agree.
I should have to, right? Am I
Yeah.
talking crazy? You have to want to get there. So not only is there a was and could be, but there's also a should.
But you also just said want.
Want, should, desire, I guess they're all sort of synonymous in this definition.
Can I tie this to the phrase of the day?
You may.
If we going up, we ain't going down. If we going up, we ain't going down. I'm like you're convincing me to see life now in like a very linear pattern. As in, there's no like past or future. It's just always going forward, and it's actually not coming back down. You can't revert. You can't go backwards.
coming back
You said you could
down.
never hear every song in existence.
Right.
I was thinking you could never hear the same song again for the first time.
Yeah.
Because
You
it's
wouldn't be
a
able
different
to.
temporal
You already
effect
gained
on
that
you.
knowledge of that
Yeah,
song.
right.
It's got an electromagnetic impression of you, like in your soul, which I would argue is vibrations and energy.
Yeah, not to mention if we keep it on sort of a physiological effect, the neurotransmitters that go off are never the same as the first time. That's why drugs sort of go down in effectiveness as the addict sort of continues to take it or whatever it may be. the idea of tolerance, even for something as simple as caffeine going through it. But yeah, improvement having these two definitions or even these three regards, right? Where you are, where you could/should be, and the desire or should or attempt to get there. And the big attempt, you could say noun here, you could say noun there, but the whole middle part makes improvement to me not exist because it is a should. And then should requires a third-party observer.
Oh, man.
That's the infinite. That should is the infinite. I don't know where I saw this, but there was like a theory that the universe snaps in and out of infinity at all times.
Oh,
and
man,
when you were
I
holding
love
your
that.
hands like that, that's exactly what I thought of. In and out of infinity. And then right here is the snapping in and out. The
Snap.
should,
Oh,
how it
man.
happens. There's an infinite
I love that
possibility.
word.
So that's why
Snap
you're struggling
is a
to
good
say
word.
this is improvement because it's anything in fucking infinity, and then it snaps back to here. So it's actually anything you want to describe. That's why you go back to perspective. That's why you're going. That's why it's cyclical.
I love snap because it's always coming in and out of existence. I like it because God was like, all right, I got two hands. I could snap everything into existence or keep it where it's just me here because the word should gives God the ability to do something or not. So like life or nothing, something or nothing.
The snapping, it also is reminiscent to me of sort of the quantum idea of things. Like, how would a quantum computer even work? We always have ones and zeros. You know, that's how basic computing works. But they say quantum computers can be both or nothing or adds two more. Marco could probably explain it a little better. But it's almost like inexplicable how it could even work to a certain degree. And snapping in and out.
Uncertainty principle. For that
Uncertainty, literally, yeah. Snapping in and out just reminds me of consciousness itself. How you're almost in the flow state or not, and how you could snap in sometimes and you could snap out sometimes. So, I do want to... Oh, man. You know, let me ask you this first, because that does bring me up to my next topic, but I do want to say... ask the question, but then what does that mean about a god or an ideal? Like,
wait, in this analogy here and then infinite in the middle, where's the flow state? In the infinite or when you've made the decision?
I would say it's always in the present. It's the here.
It's so, but what part's the present too? Is it the infinite that's the present because that's like almost time? Is it the out here because this is like where you are / want to be, or is it the very beginning where you've made the decision, but now you're already you made a decision, now it's already forward, now it's snapped.
Damn, Marco, that's 3 points.
I think the present is the ever approaching future.
The present is the
like
ever.
that,
You got to say it in a Jamaican accent.
The present is the ever approaching future.
Oh, now it makes sense. What's that?
Cancel.
You don't like that.
My God, the ever. No, I don't. But I'll tell you what. You do touch on a beautiful principle that I think where. This is another ancient philosophy, let's say, but they shit on everybody's ideas here and sort of more or less say my Mitch interpretation is that it's all the quantum state. It's that the now is integrating everything much as the future is integrating everything. Now, I'm not saying this very clearly, but almost as if we do live on two planes at once. Sort of the Ram Dass ideology is that you have to have that sort of eternal self in mind and the present self at mind. Sometimes it's possible to be too present, they say, because maybe we don't think about the future.
So what I hear you saying
Mark,
is
you got
that
a point?
that your answer to my question of where are we in the here or infinite is yes.
You got it.
Got it.
Boom. Are we wiser now, everybody?
I think so.
Wow.
Does my diagram make sense?
Past, present.
Now draw a big
now.
circle around and
Oh,
then yes.
I'm sorry. This is now. This is future. This is
Wait,
past.
draw a big circle around it and then yes. That's Mitch's answer.
Yeah, big circle around
Big circle around
everything.
everything. No, like everything.
Okay, I got you.
And then also this goes back to like last week
Yes.
when you mentioned a collective unconscious kind of like universe.
Yeah.
That's what I think it is. That's my point right there.
Right.
And then if we've ever experienced God or whatever, I feel like it's experiencing that. Like that, whatever, that's probably flow state too.
Now that's deep, right?
Right.
Because I think we misdefine it a lot of times, or maybe many people do, when we say live in the present, dog. I'm like, shut up, hippie. Even though I say it myself. But that's not, how do I say this? Words are limited when it comes to the overarching picture of the circle with the yes. Words are limited because being in the flow state encompasses more than just now. I think perhaps, again, words lack, but eternity,
Yep.
potential, the quantum state, mixed with the present. And that uncertainty of all of it, and being aware of the uncertainty
thing
itself.
going on,
The
yeah.
whole thing going on. Now that's deep. Living in the uncertainty with calmness. It's almost like this, I don't want to say as above, so below, but it's like, it's this... Yeah, quantum state. You have to be aware. You have to live in the state of fear because fear will come. You will fight the dragon, man.
You gotta fight the.
You will fight the dragon, but I think sort of being calm in the face of pressure is a beautiful analogous symbol towards what we are approaching.
And you might avoid the dragon altogether if you could, because you're constantly living in past, present, and future all at once and being aware of them all coinciding with each other. So you might be able to avoid the dragon around the corner anyways. And that's why I liked Marco's point of snap so much, because when you're living not in that state that you just described, if you're in the past or the future, that's why people say snap out of it.
Snap
Because
out.
you're
Snap
lost in
out of it,
time.
man.
You're lost in time, and you really are somewhere else. When someone says, "Where are you, man? Are you here?" Like, Back to the Future, Marty McFly is knocking on his head.
Anybody home, McFly?
Exactly.
And that is to say, I gotta start using that phrase more. That is to say that most dragons, I would argue, if anyone wants to hit me with this, most dragons are self-created dragons.
Oh, yeah.
They're
True.
mental. Damn, that's a point, Mitch.
True.
Because we fight these phantoms, if you will, that we create ourselves. And if we didn't even view them as a phantom in the first place, there would be nothing to overcome.
Some perceived trauma. I think I heard it said
Perceived
like that
trauma.
recently.
Oh, I like that.
Perceived trauma that hasn't been dealt with yet, which goes back to me saying we are always lying to ourselves.
Wow, then we have to define trauma because that's a deep one
Perceived
too, right?
as well is an important part of that.
I guess that's true.
Was it back to Jung's shadow, Carl Jung's shadow concept? And the shadow encompasses you when you're not aware of it.
That could be a big part of it, absolutely, right? It's like when you are not in the flow state. I guess the flow state has been a big thing of this show. We got to make a t-shirt, flow state or something like that. It's been a catchphrase now. Because when you're not in, what's in control? It's the other half that you're not aware of. When you're living too much in the present or maybe even too much in the future, you're lacking a huge element of what it means to be real at one moment.
Stuck in one part of Evan's Venn diagram there.
Yeah, right.
Even the flow state is perfectly. To really get in flow state, you have to use your knowledge of the activity you're doing, so past, do the activity, so present, and go to a future that you're going to, that you know you want to achieve, the future. It's all of it together. It works out so nicely. It's kind of beautiful.
Oh, it is fucking beautiful, dog. Such is the picture. Do you believe in God now, Marco?
No.
Rats.
I just think that's infinity.
Got him again.
I like what Marco said, but I don't either.
That's good. We got a good balance here. That's why there's always good conversations, right? So then, let me expand. We could circle back, but let me expand by asking if there is a God, if there is an ideal for you two on my left and right. I think we can all agree that he knows our needs. It's written in the Bible. I think the ideal knows what we need. We need our food. We need our shelter, let's say. You could fight me on that too, but I think it's fairly standard. But does he know our thoughts?
No. I would say no because...
Okay, we got a no here.
Because, if he made you in a way, then the free will. You have your own thoughts, you have your own desires, you have your own wants, and basically, if he created you how he wanted you to be, not how he wanted you to be.
Interesting.
So he's basically like, just do you. Think what you think, do what you do, be what you be.
Be what you be, baby.
Damn right.
So, go for it.
So do you guys think, if God were to exist in your minds, do you think God would not even bother wanting to know your thoughts because he knows that all human?
That's point.
Because he knows all thoughts are dark and worldly. Because it might just be too much noise for him. He's like, yeah, I know humans have a corrupt mind.
That's a fun one.
There's too many of us in the world for him to focus on just one.
Right.
Yeah.
So
he's God, right? In our definition, God is God, right? He could be in all those places.
He could be.
But
Nobody
Evans argued that
chooses
he's
not to.
choosing not to. Okay,
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that. It's very
I
fun.
think the only way that works is if he really didn't give us free will.
Oh, now we're hitting
if he
hard.
gives
That's
us,
that
if he gave us
We're
free
getting
will, then I think if he had an opinion like that, I would probably even look down on a god like that.
Really?
Yeah, because then he's
Damn.
assuming that we're all evil, even though he gave us free will. So what's the fuck's the point in giving me free will in the first place? If you're giving me free will, that means you're, in some
that's
levels, thinking that I'm going to get somewhere somehow on my own. So you want to see that somehow. So just assuming that everything I'm going to do is evil or something is twisted.
I think that's why the word should belongs to God, because we don't know what to do with it.
Right.
Because it's like, I should do this in the future. I should have done this, and or should have not done this in the past.
Right.
So it's like that word doesn't get us anywhere.
I think the word
Because-
should comes right back. Sorry, it goes
No
right
problem.
back to improvement, but
Improvement.
in a weird way. And this is probably also why, like, we say don't try and be like God, because we're trying to improve. Maybe you can interpret that as being like God, and we get cocky. We lose sense of ourselves. We get eventually we end up finding that we were lost in infinity a long ass time ago, and we had no idea because we thought we were improving so much, but actually we got lost along the way.
I agree with Marco.
This show is getting me so deep, man.
Oh, I hope it brings out everyone's depth and everyone's depth over there too.
Definitely. But yeah, I definitely agree with Marco.
Yeah, no, because that's a good one, right? But that does go back to the improvement where, I have to take both of your points here. That if should is the word of God, then improvement is the should, the speaker of the should in the improvement, should it exist.
Whoa.
Deep, man.
The voice of God is telling you to improve. I mean, that's what the original consciousness, right, is supposed to be, right?
Then it's God that has to say it.
We heard voices in our head, and we thought,
Oh, yes, the bicameral mentality.
That's how we're moving. Yeah, that goes back to last week. Yeah.
That's right.
Move forward towards that, and that's somehow then we perceive it as improvement. That's when we fuck up, because we're seeing ourselves as better than and stuck in the future rather than just flowing and going and doing stuff.
Right.
So
And then, you could call this divine or not, but then the should, in the ideal sense, without God, or with him for that matter, is shoulding toward
wow.
the overall yes of the circle. Whoa.
And now I want to change what I said about should being God's word.
Yep.
I think should is the devil's word, and would is God's word.
Oh, I like
Because-
that a lot. That's a fat one.
Because if God could talk to you, it'd be like, I would do this. I wouldn't do that. He gives you the foresight, but Satan, the devil's just like, you should.
That's fun.
Like,
I
you
like
shouldn't.
But what about if that's flipped? And you flip those two words with God and devil. Like
Let's hear. That does
God
sound
could
fun.
say, you should do this, you shouldn't do this. And the devil could be like, I would do this, you would do this.
Ryan
That's a
likes
fun
his
one.
free will.
That's a good point. Yeah. Oh, good.
That's
Yeah, I
what
was
it
gonna
is.
say
I
something
love my
similar.
free will.
Ryan wants God to give you the option of should. He sees the devil saying you I would do this
Nice.
as the evil thing.
That's a fair point, Ryan. And I like Marco's
I
analysis.
feel like
I
I'm
was
making
going.
a lot of hot points today.
Oh, we got a lot of hot points. A couple of hot points, a couple of fat
at
points.
all.
It almost doesn't matter. This is like we're getting to a depth.
That actually is one of the funny things about religion, and I don't know much about religion either. But when you really break it down, the stories in it are things that just happen over and over.
The stories.
Yeah,
The stories being
Stories,
told.
the
in
archetypes, the
Yeah.
reoccurring
The
It's
natures,
never ending. And it's
Yeah.
infinity.
the motifs, if you will.
Yeah.
Timeless motifs.
Timeless motifs.
And I'm just really like I'm my
numinous
own
nature.
person, and we are all our own gods, and we all think for ourselves,
right.
kind of guy.
You know who said that? Satan.
That's what you believe, man. But I believe that I
No, like he really said that. Bring out the Bible.
I'll bring out the script.
Like, I believe I will do what I will do. I should do what I should do, and I would do what I would do.
Okay, so I want to break that down more about sort of like Ryan's love of the free will. So, does that not also, branching off of Ryan's or Marco's analysis here, does that not also then require a God to even give you a free will? Right? Like, why even define it as a free will? Why is it not just all meaningless jargon?
And that's why I think
Chaos, if you will.
the word should is not a sign of free will,
Oh,
because should shows doubt.
should
And if,
is
like,
not a sign of free will.
If you had free will, you would willingly choose. You would never struggle with the word should if you had a free will, in my opinion.
But people do struggle
It's all about
with that
perspective, I guess.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah,
Like,
that is
how you
true.
want to even use the word should or interpret the word should in your sentence.
Right. Because I
even
almost
break
see it more
down.
as would, too. So go.
Yeah, I could even break it down like the devil is the one who's taking you away by saying, "Oh no, you should go out to that strip club and spend money or spend your
Right.
money here." And it works exactly like that. You can argue both, and that's one of the tricky parts of religion.
For
in general, is
sure.
Perspective
can-
and intention.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought of like that woman looks sick by the side of the road. You should give her some money.
Okay, let's go with that.
But your intention is really to just come off as a good person, and the humility aspect earlier of like if you're trying to tell yourself that you're humble, you're not.
But if no one's around,
Thing.
And then but then you can also think like, I would give that woman, but, and then you don't.
Damn, we're adding butt into this?
Yeah.
We got to add a new thing for butt, but But as far as the two, if we're not branching the definition any farther, I do kind of see the would as the godly, the would as the overall flow state, and the should as the doubt, the separation of the two, the insecurity, the branch of the knowledge of good and evil. Whereas I like to see it as this. You guys might like this, where there's many things that I... Take this in now. Want to do. Right? Am I feeling me so far? There's so many things in this life that I want to do, but there's so many things that block me from even wanting to do those things. You know, I want to I don't know, be young again and go to a carnival, but I don't really want that. But I'd want that.
I want to read my residual stress textbook and learn how to derive
Boom!
sine squared psi.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah, facts. That's a
Right?
good one.
But maybe the reason why I haven't
God on the devil.
actually done this, even though I want this, is because I haven't found that should. I haven't found that tether to the other side. Even though I
Right.
want it, for some reason, in whatever sense of self that I have, that I've formed over the years, I actually do not want that.
Yeah.
And I'm lying to myself by thinking I want this, and I just have to admit to myself
That you don't
that
want
I
that.
actually don't want this.
Oh my God.
Because I'm lying to myself.
Yeah, it's a lie to want.
Which is willpower.
Which is willpower.
Because he's doing that because he wants to do that. He's deciding, he's making these changes, he's doing this. It's again,
It's perspective again.
The
It
big
does-
guys.
Do you
Saying I
do you
should, but I
perceive what
won't.
I said as lack of willpower, or do you perceive what I said as you haven't found the right thing for you, and that's why you aren't doing that thing? Again, how you want to perceive it, that's it's just fucked up.
What do you
dude.
want to want,
So
Ryan?
cyclical, it's a little disgusting.
Agreeing a lot today.
You fucking atheist. Just kidding, fellas.
No, I got the little guys right here, man.
So check it out, right? I see it personally as this want to want thing comes in the form of speech, which is sort of a momentary expression, which could be perceived as a form of a devil, the want to want. It is in essence a lie, because you'd like to want it, but you know that you don't want it. I guess in essence it is truth, because you do want to want it. But if you fucking think you want it, you're a liar. You just want to want it. I know we're getting heavy here, folks, but I'm going somewhere with this. It's big because talking is the want to want. Yeah, I'd like to do that one day. And I'm here listening. You're never going to do that. And maybe they won't even admit that they just want to want.
That's why you saying that to me that one day of shut the fuck up and do it when it came to me going back to school is so profound. Because I wanted to want it, but you knew exactly what was going on. So you just pushed me and made me say, do you want it, or do you actually want it? You're going to just fucking do it.
That's
then
so
you're not
good.
wanting to do it and wanting to want anything. You are actually just doing.
Right.
And you are
The reality deep.
you are totally not in the flow state when you go on asking, do I want to want this and do I don't want to want this?
It
and that
is
kind of
demonic.
thing.
You end up
It
in this
is.
infinite loop, which ends up with anxiety
Yeah.
or depression, if you're thinking about either the past or future, respectively.
With acid, you said?
No, I didn't say that.
I thought I heard you say that. I was like, whoa.
Honestly, I thought I
We
heard the
talked
same
about
thing.
that.
I heard the same thing.
Oh.
Appreciate this.
Oh,
Well,
shit.
Yeah, I was just saying you're totally not living in
Totally.
the flow state
Well, bro.
when you're ruminating, I'd say, on those things because you're using the word should. Again.
Demonic seems like a chain reaction, right?
Yeah.
God also says something along the lines of let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. I want something. Is that true or is it not? It
Right.
should end there.
Not wanting to not want.
Right. Whereas, think about what the atom bomb teaches us in this world. It's a chain fission reaction.
Oh, big
Oppenheimer shout out.
one. Big one.
And it really is that one that leads to another, which causes a bigger explosion, which causes a bigger explosion until it's atomic, until you can't handle it, until the dragon is bigger in your mind than it even is in real life. Because you want to want, and I'm not sure if I want. We talked about this earlier, Evan, about how there's too many options today. And that... sort of objectively through the studies, people were happier when they had 5 items to pick from at the grocery store instead of 100. Perhaps that goes over to women as well. Women have all the options now because they're the beautiful ones showing their titties on the internet.
I just think that's the real reason no one plays multiplayer anymore with their friends.
Oh, shit.
Oh, why is that?
Everyone's playing something else. There's too many options.
Too many options. We can't even
No,
It's
connect.
more fun when we're all
Wow,
sitting on the
we were
same
just
couch playing
talking
the one
about
game
that.
because there was only fucking one game.
That's also like people's.
So I have to make my pitch to get people to play games with me anymore, right?
Yeah. They're gonna be like, all right.
All right, so Starfield's coming out. Who's with me, right?
No,
And Marco's like, I don't know. I'm feeling RuneScape right now. All right, here we go. We got You got to give them the pitch.
Yeah.
Why they should
Right.
enjoy something. I feel like it's even with this show or certain projects sometimes too. I'm like, guys, do I really got to convince you to have fun? You know, but then certain times, like, no, I mean, we're having fun in the game world. We're having fun doing this other game. Why don't you join me?
Yeah, the options when Zelda was the only game out in the 80s or whatever, everyone just went to the kid's house who had Zelda. And I feel like the atom bomb, you split your essence into so many areas of life and just giving your attention to different things. Even just in your mind, you could do that too, not the physical world, but you're just redistributing the God energy that you could be utilizing in a more effective way by not distributing and splitting yourself like an atom bomb in so many different
Splitting
directions.
yourself. Yeah, that's right.
Yay be nay
Endless
and
fractal.
no be no or whatever it
Yeah.
was. Just stay with the surface yes or no. Don't yes of the no, no of the yes.
Yeah, that's the
that kind
argument of
thing.
the religion, right? Where it's like, not even an argument, but what Marco was saying before. They are all beautiful stories, they're archetypes, they're motifs, and it's just like, it's really up to the person to look deeper, like what it actually means in that regard, and to see yourself in these characters is a huge one as well, because you know you've been there in all these situations because it is so eternal, but to be able to see, or another big one, let's put it this way, is so many people now have this egoic sense that nobody's ever been through their problems before. That's a huge one, is it not?
You don't know what I've been through.
You
Mitch.
don't know what
That's a
I have
big one.
been through.
Especially these
No one
days.
ever has gone through what I've been through.
in the
People
entire
have been-
world.
Yeah, right.
In history.
Billions of
Fuck
people
those cavemen.
haven't experienced what I've gone
Yeah, right?
Which
Trillions.
is kind of true.
Kind of true.
through. Maybe.
sense.
Yeah,
in some
I guess
sense,
so.
everyone
sense.
goes through something different.
Right. But in the archetypal sense,
No.
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 The effect, I think, is the same, though. Just the extreme darkness and terrible places you can go to in life. Everyone's felt to
Right.
different degrees. What's the word?
Our own sense of self perceives whatever archetypal story we're going through.
Right. That's a big one too, because we are all centered on the self. We're literally self-centered. We have a perspective that supposedly comes from here. It comes from the brain, so that's how we see it. That's how we frame it, you know? Like,
I think we're going back to asking, what is a sense of self?
what is a
Where
sense
does it
of
come
self?
from?
Back to
I
the
think
first
it just comes
sentence.
from death, man. Fear of
Comes
death.
from death, bruh.
But what if you're not afraid of
I
death?
think everyone's afraid of death.
Ooh. are we afraid of death?
I could agree, but I can also disagree because there are people out there who are like the huge risk takers who
Yeah.
do things and they're like, I'm not scared. If I die, I die.
And I bet you we throw them all off a building. A little
Oh.
bit before they hit the ground, they're going to be scared
Oh,
of death.
God.
Most likely, but in a sense, everyone is scared of death. But I don't want to get fucking dark. But people who are not well-minded will do that to themselves
Yes.
without saying.
Don't say the word.
I'm not gonna say the word. I mean, I've heard people say the word on so much shit I watch and listen to, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Aren't necessarily scared of the fear of death, but they're scared of the outcome of
Implications of
what their
sorts.
choice is going to do.
Right.
I guess.
And
That's a big one.
those risk takers are dying slowly. I think they're just. I think they're. Sounds so gay. I think they are afraid. I think they're afraid of living. I don't think they're afraid of dying because they're constantly trying to.
See?
It's happening anyways, but like they wouldn't mind if it happened that exact moment. That's like where the risk comes from. No zest for life. You basically do want to die in some
Right.
weird way because there's always that problem of your parachute can't open.
Damn.
And then you get the people with parachute can't open. I might be scared, but this is it. This is how it ends. I have to accept what's coming to me.
For sure. And
Like
you know,
Russian roulette.
just
It
to
is.
bring another branch into the conversation, it's just like I think a lot of the times maybe there are people in theory who aren't afraid of death, but I've heard it said a lot that they're afraid of what their death will do to perhaps others in a less selfish sort of sense. I want to die. I'm not saying this, but what will it do to XYZ? How
Yeah.
will it affect this, my family, blah, blah, blah. And in that sense, maybe the fear is just as real.
Then you have those people with the argument of like it's selfish to do that to yourself
That's a tough one.
because or you don't care about anyone in your life. Like you actually lack love if you do that to yourself.
Yeah, it's supposedly the modern Christian belief. I got to dig into it more that you're not supposed to do that. It's a sin.
Yeah.
But I don't really know how I ever felt about that. It just feels like if we are sure of something, but then when are we ever sure, right? We know kids shouldn't be changing their genders, but like, should adults even change their genders? Because that's pretty fucked up, man.
And then they're their own person to do that.
Yeah.
Because that's their choice.
But then, freedom. But then, of
Do you-
course, the
'cause-
Christians
'cause
really
going
believe in
back-
freedom if you're an adult.
going back to talking about God and religion, like does God want you to become a woman? Does God
Yeah.
want you to become a man?
That's
I don't
right.
think that's why he created you in the first place. That was your own choice to become
The gospel
said
according
man
to
or
Ryan.
female. Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's right. Wow, you got religious right there.
Willpower.
That's
you know?
deep, man.
You were
Willpower.
meant to live because you live. I think it
You
explains
is who
itself.
you is.
You is what you
And
is,
you're gonna do what
baby.
you're gonna do.
It is what it is.
You're gonna do what you're gonna do. Man, it's funny how the
As long as we're going up.
Marco,
we
you
ain't
get off
going
that
down.
point. Oh
I
my
don't
god.
actually even keep a track of that.
Yeah.
No. And I keep looking at the what I hear you saying is, but I want to say it, but I've missed a few times.
It's gonna be tough. So we kind of ditched the actual points, and we're doing just like an MVP thing now too,
No.
just to keep everyone in the moment. We'll see how it works. See how you guys feel about it. We're learning as we go. But let's separate it some more. Change up the topic and get to culture. Ryan's favorite. Culture's not your friend, baby.
Culture is not your friend.
What is that?
What is that?
Well, you don't want to know.
I kind of do.
Right.
Guys, what is it that makes me say, me and Ryan went to the movies?
Ryan and I.
Instead of perhaps the more polite version, perhaps the more courteous and inclusive version, Ryan and I went to the movies. When did it become all about me? Why is there a plague of people saying me and so-and-so?
Because I feel like they want to be the number one.
Because it sounds better that way, because we're number one.
Yeah, exactly. Because I could say me and my friends, not
Yeah.
my friends and I, because I feel like I'm more important than my friends. You know what I'm saying?
Is this from personal experience?
No. Not at all. I don't think I'm better than anybody.
Right, just
you
as
know?
a general
Yeah, yeah.
thought. Okay, I like that.
Because you do get those people, and I do know those people.
Yeah,
who
there's a
are-
plague of them.
Yeah. Oh yes, I know.
Yeah.
Especially at work.
Oh.
And because when people say me and my people, or me and this, me and who, me and that, because they do want to feel more important than like, oh, you and your friend are doing that. Not,
Right.
oh, your friend and you are doing that. Like
You
feel,
got it.
You hear the difference.
First, more important. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
not just me who's been recognizing this plague of people,
No,
the
because
self-centered people.
these days,
Dare I say.
these days people are self-centered.
Yeah.
Because that goes back, I feel like, to a topic we talked about last week. I feel like, talking about how people should, like, if you draw something or make music for you or them, like I made that for me, and then not for them.
Right,
You know what
very
I'm saying?
similar. Very true.
I
The
think it's
focus is on the self.
I think it's just quicker to say me and Ryan.
You think it's quicker?
Yeah, Ryan
Me and
I.
Ryan. Ryan and I. Same syllables. You're
Well,
wrong.
the slang you could say me and faster. Me and Ryan.
Me and
the
Rye
li-
guy.
The amount of time that it takes to say me and Ryan, not just syllables, but like
you guys
Time
saying.
is based on syllables.
I like you guys saying. my
yes,
name.
but I think the separation
I
of
think I
and
kind of hear
I,
what you're
You
talking
hear what he's
about,
saying?
though.
Okay.
it's easier.
I understand
and
what you're saying, but
It's easier, and people know what you're saying, even if it's wrong,
So, they understand you regardless.
even if grammatically
So
it's
why
wrong.
not say it quicker, quote unquote?
But then it can also. What was the last part you said?
Easier?
Easier, yeah. People can say it easier, but still will mean the same thing. You know, it still means that, like, oh, me and this guy.
Is it easier? Is it so much easier?
is Ryan and I only slower because we emphasize the and I? Because it's us.
Oh, now we're
Yeah,
getting
that's
deep.
what I was talking about.
Yeah.
The spaces,
Now we're
in
getting
between
deep.
and I.
I'm gonna have to agree with
You
Marco
say
now.
Ryan real quick and you slow. Ryan and I.
Oh yeah, because and
Definitely how people say Ryan and I.
exactly, exactly. You want to sound more
Wench.
fancy, and the word "and" is shorter in me and because you'd say me and Ryan, but you would say Ryan and I.
Ryan and I.
and
Yes.
Well, no, that's only because Ryan ends with an N, and N is the sound that and makes. But what if it's
Yeah,
Marco and I?
I guess
I say
I guess-
Marco and
Evan and I.
Oh. Fraser Crane. Jack Crane. Jack Crane.
Freezer.
Jaquan.
phrase here.
I like to watch.
We could all say
Frasier.
funny words.
Oh, phrase, yeah.
Oh, Fraser.
Have you noticed that though? I mean, I'm gonna get deep, but I'm seeing if you guys can see where I'm going here. It's what is the implications of this? What does this mean? What does this bring upon our society that everyone is so focused on me? And even if I were to agree with you guys, you fucks, even if I were to agree with you guys that that it's quicker to say, which makes no sense in my mind. But even if, why are we doing this? What's the point? Am I saving a fraction of a decisecond?
No, it's because a good portion of the world is self-centered and thinks about themselves, and they
Sure.
want to be. Even though I is at the end of like Mitch and I, Marco and I, you're still putting that person before because you're thinking about them before you. It could still be taken out as Marco and I.
Yeah, the emphasis
You
is
know,
always on I.
it-
We've
it-
established.
You could always do that, but the person who is actually like properly meaning like, oh, Mitch and I, like him and me, you know?
You keep saying the same thing.
Leave me
Can
alone.
it be like, as we have evolved to do things less as a group and more as individuals,
We're going somewhere.
slang has just kind of evolved. It's like a slang thing. Like
You said when we're doing this more.
we're
with-
more self-centered nowadays, and from back in the day,
Sure.
we're less like, oh, as a group, let's make everything better.
Do
So
we
we're
all
like,
agree we're
I
all
want to
more
stick out.
self-centered now?
Yeah,
for sure.
Is that a
Probably.
taken?
So.
Is that a
Yeah.
given that we're understanding that we're all more self-centered now? Okay.
I also think we're much less group-oriented as just
Group oriented.
country
Okay, we're getting
or
somewhere
species
new.
in general nowadays.
And
Less group oriented.
That's true.
Yes.
Like even like during the pandemic, it
Yeah.
all became about just those specific people. 'Cause
Certainly exaggerated.
group people.
Because you haven't suffered like I suffered.
Oh,
Mitch.
suffered
You don't know what it's like.
So
Because
individuals.
like the pandemic, people started thinking about themselves. Like, oh, I gotta protect myself. I don't give a fuck about any of these other people getting sick.
That's true. Suffering is a
That's just
huge
fear
one,
of
I
death.
think.
I think we're more self-centered and we're less honest about our self-centeredness. And the funny thing about the past few years during the disease was that it was all about, we're all in this together, man. We'll get through this
Oh,
together.
that's a hot
But
take. There's a
nobody
point.
was together. In fact, everybody was actually separate,
That's true.
mandatorily separate too.
Wasn't that one of the phrases too? The like, let's suffer together apart.
yeah. Not
No,
seeing
you
your friends
fucking-
and family.
Yeah, we're
then
going
you-
back to want to wine. You're not saying anything at all.
Because then you get
Wow.
these,
There's no meaning in that sentence.
You get these self-centered celebrities who are making these speeches because they want to be seen in their
Oh,
big
God.
fancy houses.
If I have to the big fancy houses to show up, if I have to hear another Imagine by John Lennon
Oh god.
sang by all the fucking cringe celebrities, oh my God, get a
Man,
life.
That was awful.
Jeez, and so that is really a strong point in Evan's favor right there, is because it's weird how we all agree we're more self-centered now, but we're also appearing or portraying, advertising, if you will, a much more, what's the word? I could use a good word right here, but yeah, we're trying to sell that we're not as selfish.
market.
It's marketing. It really is.
And hence why women are 80% of the credit card holder debt.
oh,
They're just had to say it because we were just talking about it the other day too. Cut it out if you want. but it's
I don't
relevant,
understand
I
why.
think. I think it's relevant.
Wait, how's women spending money about self-centeredness?
They want to look a certain way.
You're saying that they... Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, because they're
yeah,
more
they wanna-
concerned with pulling off that entire equation, coming off
Advertising
as
ain't cheap, yeah.
less, right, and they're acting as if they're not advertising, like the makeup thing from earlier,
Right.
where it's just like this is for meh.
They're the biggest dupers.
For men.
Yeah. Whoa. I mean, how buying, selling, marketing is literally in its essence duping you. That could be like a whole nother topic
Yep.
in the first place. But self-centered. So let me take it where I'm going, see if you guys vibe with this. But I do like the aspect of who's a little better at sales or not. I see it in a strong sense of our lack of imagination. What do you mean, Mitch? I'm just talking about myself. I'm just self-centered. Nothing more. Why are you being so deep about it? Our lack of imagination. Have you ever noticed that when you start off with me and Ryan went to the movies, your story is much worse? Now, why is that? I think it ties in, if we all agree, but I'll take it one step further to prove my point. If the person telling the story is the center of the story, much like, what was it, Nicolas Cage making a movie about how great Nicolas Cage is?
Oh my God! Yeah,
Was
he
that
made
what
a-
it was?
He made a movie about himself. pretty
Instantly,
much.
right off the bat, people are turned off by that. Why are you talking so much about yourself? That's kind of gay.
Yeah,
That's kind of cringe, like singing a song about we're all in this together when we know you're lying.
Yeah, I think the word together should always be accompanied by where are you together?
Yeah.
Because I was never with you ever.
Yeah, together is physically.
Yeah.
What are we going to be spiritually together? Okay, that's more of like a religious term. That's not a real thing. Together, am I wrong? Together is physical.
yeah, like
Yeah.
we are.
What else
together
can we
right
do
now.
together? We're doing things together. The verb to do is to be in action.
Right.
You do something.
Yeah, I was never in the same room with Madonna or like
Yeah,
any other celebrity that was saying we're in this together.
guys, here I sit in my big fancy house. I'm giving you a message that we are in this together.
So isn't that deep, Marco? You'd like this. That my mind ties that to storytelling, to selfish nature. Maybe
Well,
that's just
it's-
my
it's-
mind.
it's- a shitty story is just. I mean, it doesn't have to be a shitty story if it's just on one character. But usually, stories are better if there are multiple characters. It's a group going towards something, or
Right.
more than just one character doing a thing. So,
Or that
even
people, go for
no,
it.
no, even though we've kind of fallen away from that nowadays, and we are more self-centered, it's all about our individual voices and our individual experiences, and you have to respect that or whatever.
So are you all arguing that for all time the emphasis has always been on I, no matter which way we say it?
Sounds like it.
Could it be?
It kind of does.
Could it be? Oh, Marco says yes,
But
kind of
I
does.
don't know. Starting with Ryan, starting with a group.
Has it
of
always been a
friends.
dupe? Have I always been trying to trick you into thinking I'm smoother than I am?
But you're
Yeah.
also like
It's self-centered.
emphasizing when you say Ryan first, you're still also emphasizing I. Ryan and I.
Ryan and I.
Actually, typically
you
people
almost kind of
say
have to say that a little bit. I don't know.
maybe not because people say Ryan and I.
Ryan and I.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know. I guess you could put it where you want.
But I think the story just sounds. It sounds like you're more excited for the story when you're saying Ryan and I at the start as opposed to me and Ryan, because that sentence, me and Ryan, almost always ends up with me and Ryan went to the movies. Ryan and I went to the movies and such happened.
Okay, but
I
I'm
think-
trying to branch, guys. You got to get deep. Is it
like-
storytelling? Like, why is it my mind that always gets to the storytelling? It seems like this idea of proper pride. Like, where is the pride going? Pride has always been a sin, but what if there's a proper pride? What if I don't have to rub it in your face that I'm a Puerto Rican? Hey, I'm Puerto Rican. Oh, yeah, I've set for Puerto Rican holidays. Oh, yeah, look, I'm wearing a Puerto Rican flag. Yeah. Okay, there's a proper pride. You could be whatever you are, and you can be proud of it. Even that's not the proper Christian view. I still believe you could be proud of certain things, but it's sort of a quiet pride. I see it as, and that ties in directly with storytelling. It's funny that your mind goes to Hollywood, Evan, because it's like that's really what it is. That the storytelling nature is bringing that proper pride to light without making it. It almost goes back to the want to want thing a little bit. Because you're sort of being fake for the sake of it. You're pushing it and not letting it be what it is. Ryan and I. Why does it need to be about me? Me is already taking you out of the story.
That's like it's like two different stories.
Oh.
One story is a POV of that said character, like me and I'm not gonna say my name. Me and Mitch. That's the point of view of that one character. But if it's a story that it's going to be based off of multiple characters, it'll be Mitch and I, and then maybe continuously more characters' names or whatever.
I think that's why Evan's idea branches out too in a longer sentence. It doesn't go, me and Mitch went to the movies. It's Mitch and I went to the movies, and then this happened, and then this happened, because it's more of a, instead of a POV, it's more of a group thing. It's an outward shot on a collection of things that happen rather than just focusing on my perspective.
If you don't focus on the self, you're saying it's a better story because it could be expanded.
The emphasis is on more is on the group or another person other than yourself. With me, it's on just you. So there's only one perspective and one view, and two or more.
That's deep.
On the other.
Was that kind of what you're saying, Evan? Because like as a group, there are more perspectives than just my own. That's pretty cool.
I think I want to throw in the monkey wrench because that if you where was I going with this? What was the example again?
Multiple people, right? Because if it's me and the guys went, you know, it's I'm clearly talking about me, but the guys and I went here. There's almost more options for perspective talking about the guys. That's a pretty fun one.
Either way you look at it, I think both ways you say it, whoever's name you pronounce first, if we're talking about a vanity thing, I think the act of telling the story itself about what you and another person did is vain in essence because it's just like, this is my story, this is what's going on with me right now. So it's like, I'm not sure the person is thinking about themselves consciously. If they're saying their
that's
name
almost
first.
too deep.
Maybe
Now you jumped off a ledge into depth. Because it's like, Evan saying it's like, why are you even opening your mouth in the first place? What I hear you saying is, why do we talk at all?
Maybe what Evan,
and that's kind of deep, right?
Maybe what Evan is saying is it doesn't matter and it's all just slang and we're trying to...
It's all just slang.
Yeah,
okay.
so just how we
Sounds
talk.
like an apologist.
And that we're trying to dig into something that doesn't exist.
True.
It's always been about I, no matter how you frame it.
Oh,
it's just...
now we got a hot
just-
take.
hot
Okay.
take. 2 points for
It's
Marco.
just slang.
2 points for
and that's
Marco.
it.
I agree. Wow.
And
It's always been about I.
it's all about you, Mitch.
Man!
Yeah.
It's this guy.
He is
It's all
center
about
shot.
you, baby. Center shot. It's all about me. That's super cool. Cause like, damn. But then it almost seems dishonest to tell a story that involves you, and Michael's already laughing. Feels dishonest if I don't talk about how cool I am. No,
Mitch just
I
doesn't
wasn't
like
gonna
this
say
because
that.
he's a good storyteller.
Damn it!
He doesn't want to be seen as
But
so.
for sure. But that's why my mind does go to storytelling because it is just a thing. Well, I suppose if you're saying Ryan and I or me and Ryan, you are starting a story.
Because what story do you think sounds better? Me and Mitch, Mitch and I. Which one do you think sounds better?
I am an old proponent of class. This little thing called class. Where it's just like, you gotta put yourself second. Because even if we want to get like psychological about it, even Norm Macdonald was famous for saying something along the lines of everyone wants to be the smartest person in the room. So if you want to be liked, you make that person seem like the smartest person in the room. Nobody likes the smartest person in the room.
No.
Nobody likes I. Nobody cares about I think we do much better to know that nobody gives a shit about you. Even when they hear their story, it's the story. They don't care about you.
Right.
Yeah.
But you are bastardizing it right off the bat by saying me and making yourself the star. It's just like that movie Big Fish. Why does that resonate with everybody? Because it doesn't matter if the story's true or not. It never mattered. It was about the story and the storyteller who has the knowledge and the creativity to weave a tale because he loves you or because he loves any number of things.
Well, so you're saying that starting the story with the other person makes people more likely to listen because it's about not that person, so it's not a selfish thing.
I think so.
But then, are you not just being selfish in a sneaky way?
It could be. That's why I'm not claiming moral superiority, but I am claiming class.
Respect.
Hey!
I thought you were going to be like, well, it comes down to it. It's all about I.
Because what is not a story, right? Am I not entertaining? I could say the word class, and you could say, Mitch, you just pull that word out of your butt. You know,
pull
which could
class
be
out your
true.
ass.
But like, should a story itself, if there was no me, not be class? Maybe if I was saying Zorplov and Grimlorp, and those are just sounds that came out of my mouth. Either way, still not about me. Detail is that to be weaved.
But we make the story about me.
Ooh. So that is a deep point from before, right? That you could always make the story about yourself.
What about even wanting to tell a story in the first
Now, that's
place?
Evan's point, right? Why are we
Yeah.
even talking about anything ever?
But then it's just like, well, then what would we do?
Facts.
That's the spice in life, as they say. Like, if we're not telling a story, why can't we?
Storytelling is magical too, just like
Yeah.
Movie Mason said. Movies are about magic. And they are. It's about story. How else would we connect? Granted, I mean, I'm sure everyone's heard a story when they didn't want to hear a story. Like, this is too many stories, man. But you've also heard a story when you were really intrigued by that story and you were hanging on with the edge of your seat, hanging on every word. And it's this beautiful way to connect the art of storytelling, and it's such a delicate process. And I think it does it a strong injustice. Well, okay, like that. I like that a lot. That's pretty deep. That's the point, Mitch. The story is about connection, and if you make it all about yourself, you're sort of limiting the connection. If you don't tell a good story, you're limiting the connection itself. Evan likes that one.
Oh my God. And that's why all the movies geared towards women, they always are the first to say, like, yeah, I can't identify with Barbie because I could never attain that body type. And it's just like, men aren't thinking that when they see Goku. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or seeing Superman.
That's always the meme, too. Just like every color watching Goku, and it's like, that's me.
Yeah, exactly.
I see myself
Literally
in that.
me.
It's true. Because he's just badass. Whoa.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I don't know all the psychology behind it, but in my personal anecdotal experience, men can usually weave a much better story than women. Women just shout out like emotional words in like no particular order.
No structure.
Because probably back in the ancient times, men were the first storytellers.
That's true. They did go out and bring a tale back of sorts.
Exactly.
They slayed the dragon and brought back the head for proof. Origin of storytelling.
And that story started off with I. Because they were the first ones to tell that
it
story.
had to be. It was always about you.
Damn,
I
maybe
went
it was
out into
always
the
about
woods
me.
and killed this tiger.
Without you, there also would be no story.
Wow.
The tree falling in the woods.
Mitch, it all comes back to you, baby.
Oh my, it all comes back to me, baby. Wow, so that's deep. I think we're all approaching the fact that maybe it was always about.
It's always about I. The
Damn,
story, even the
that's
storyteller
rough.
telling the story. Because you know what,
That's a
Mitch?
rough truth. What do
It's
I
not
know?
go.
Taking you out of the flow zone or the present or however you want to say it.
What's that?
Listening to a story, telling a story objectively takes you out of that. But
Right.
is that a good thing?
But is it a good thing?
And is that also the difference between a good and bad story?
Oh,
A good story may take you out of whatever flow or presence you're currently in, but it'll put you into another type of flow during said story.
I
The
feel
ones
like
that suck will just be like, oh man, this just
Yeah, it really puts you out of it. I
Yeah.
always say, like, I fall out of the story.
I feel like you got to say it like a bad story is when you're in it. A good story is it when you're not in it. So you don't put yourself in the story.
I wouldn't simplify it so much, but that is a cool thought. It's like it's almost like the spirit behind it. Like I use the word class. I don't know. It's hard to, but it does tie in with these other thoughts that you guys might want to hit at if you don't have anything. Is it, like these words that tie in hospitality and courtesy. Sort of, even if it's not like in a storytelling thing.
I think of hospitality when you say the class behind saying
Oh,
Mitch and
I
I
like
versus
that.
me and Mitch.
Right.
Right. Like you treat your guests with respect. You
Oh.
host house. Evan always asks if I want coffee. Brings us water.
Oh shit!
That's
Deep.
class. That's what you do. You put
Class.
your other person first. Actually, my dad has a quote today. He
Oh, nice.
he
Let's
said,
see.
"You cannot help someone without."
You have to say it in his voice.
No,
I'll do it.
you can
Okay, I'll do it after,
datify. You cannot help someone without
You cannot help.
hurting or changing yourself. Something like that.
Cannot help someone without hurting or changing yourself.
Yeah.
I'll have to
Or
let
without
that
making a
sink in.
sacrifice
Your
for
dad's
yourself.
too wise for me to even,
That's just some
understand.
crazy shit sometimes, man.
I'm glad we have that recorded.
tried to
though.
help
I'll
your
let
mother.
it sink in. Yeah.
But it just hurts me.
Mitch, you're gonna sit there and listen
But
to this
she just
back.
divorced me.
You're gonna listen to this back like 10 times. Like I still don't think
I still don't know what the fuck he was trying to say. I guess I'm just not smart enough. No, but I really like the idea of hospitality, even in, dare I say, storytelling, even if it's just tied to class. Like, hospitality is putting someone else above yourself. And the purest spirit of the story or the storytelling act is the connection. It's almost as if ditching yourself is just a quick, easy shortcut to dissolving the barrier, to serving all your guests first and maybe yourself last is that sign of class. It's making sure everyone's taken care of. And It's a sign of good faith. How do you like that? It's a sign of good faith that this story, hey, this is really for you. I don't want you to think anything right off the bat. I'm not throwing you out as soon as the story begins. Baby out the bathwater.
I think it's the difference between fulfilling and demoralizing. The outcome of hospitality and
let me let that sink in. You got to say it slow and sexy. What were those two words?
The difference between fulfilling with a story and being demoralized with a story.
And demoralizing story. Now expand on that. Those are cool words.
So the fulfilling side of a story is putting someone else as the highlight or like the point of the story, and demoralizing from a story is making it all about yourself. Because I'm guilty of it, but when everyone goes on tangents about themselves that kind of doesn't ever involve anybody else in the conversation.
The tangents are terrible. Yeah,
it's they demoralizing. Could go on. And I'm terrible at telling stories, so I'm trying to get over that first.
Right.
Maybe it's fulfilling to tell a story that brings someone else joy, and demoralizing to tell a story that you're only telling to say what you want to say.
Right.
Well, that's why the best movies that we all know probably are fulfilling. Horror movies aren't ever really someone's favorite movie, I feel like. I guess some people are horror fans.
Yes.
But
right, and is that less of a story? I'll make that argument, right?
True.
Is that less of a story just because it's not like
Sunshine and Rainbows?
Fulfilling? Yeah, right, Sunshine and Rainbows, yeah.
I guess it could be fulfilling if the people get away from the murderer. Maybe in that way it could be fulfilling
it's
to
not
a lower...
all about the one main character.
Right. Dare I say, it does remind me a lot of the bicameral mentality, or the fact that not signing your name a little bit is like a big part of storytelling.
Right, they just told the story to tell the story.
They just told the
story. Their name, they weren't doing anything. It was just here it is.
And often, dare I say, it didn't even have characters, or it was almost never I. That's what's interesting. It was almost never I. Nobody wrote, I thus did this in the ancient times. They were writing about someone else or just an occurrence of sorts. I think that's very interesting. It was about the message. It was about the archetype. The story was the point.
At first I disagreed, but now I'm thinking about it. I think you're right. I don't think anyone ever wrote about themselves.
Right.
And that's why a lot of those philosophers, we don't really know their last names either.
Yeah.
We just know them as that guy in town, Aristotle or Socrates or whatever it was.
And you want to know what's super dope about that? Good point. Is that Socrates himself didn't write down anything. But then how badass of Plato to write down all of Socrates' teachings.
Yeah.
And just in my mind, maybe this is all just shallow stuff that I'm making out to become deep. And I just think to myself, how badass that was. Damn, is that not all about life? It's about being badass. Going back to Norm Macdonald, that dude died of cancer. Didn't tell a soul.
That's true.
He didn't tell anybody. It was in the papers one day. He died. His closest friends never knew. And I can't help but say, that's fucking badass, dude.
That is, yeah.
That's badass as shit. He took life itself and said, fuck you, death. I'm in control. He didn't bitch or whine about it to everybody and make their lives miserable.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, what an ultimate final joke. What just like a dope dude.
Very class.
Class is so important to me. How do you guys feel about class?
Because that's
I
actually
love class.
that's actually a really good point, because he didn't tell anyone because he didn't want anyone else to worry, because he wasn't thinking about himself.
He didn't want anyone to treat him different. I think he threw in some jokes. If you go back, you can see him throwing in some jokes about the fact that he's going to die.
Yes.
And the overarching thing is he didn't want people to treat him differently.
Yeah. Don't see me differently. Don't treat me differently.
I think I saw a Norm clip recently on YouTube, and someone was dissecting paragraphs like this. Of Norm. I fucking love Norm. I was all right.
He is a dope
I'm going to read this for
next 2 years. What's maybe, dare I say, I'm just going with the flow right now, but is class even more important than the story itself?
And Jesus had class. And
Jesus did have a hell load of class, man.
Granted, cancer's more hidden than being hanged on a cross.
Right.
Because his pain was outward, but he didn't complain about it either.
True.
There's something about class, man.
There's something about class, for sure.
There's famous criminals that have so much class in them.
Damn it, you hate
You
to
kinda-
love 'em.
yeah,
to
it's
love
like,
'em.
God
They fucking
damn.
murdered
Christ.
people and ripped a bitch's throat out, but you're like, damn, he was
Because he told that story.
Please don't rip people's heart out.
But
or
don't do it.
faces
We're not
off,
endorsing
okay?
that.
You don't have enough class. It's
Anything-
not you, all right? It's not fucking you.
It's not you. This is not for you, baby. You don't got enough class for that.
I just think Don Eladio from Breaking Bad, the
thinking
drug
Not a
lord.
Ladio.
White collar
Mexican
theft kind of crimes, or
Oh yeah. Let's just say any class. What we learned from this moment is that class could be brought to anything.
Damn,
I
class
think.
is
Can we
huge.
all agree on that?
oh, that's why I
It's-
like Hannibal. Got it.
Yeah, dude.
My
Hannibal.
God.
He's
He's fucking classy.
straight eating dudes.
But he's making.
But he's the
them.
fucking classiest ass. God, his class is off the charts.
Yep.
If I met him in real life, I don't know what I'd do.
Wow, these are really good. Jesus to murderers.
Yeah,
All
no,
have
but
class.
you seen Hannibal?
I have seen Hannibal.
Dog, is he not the classiest mofo? If you knew that he like maybe nibbled an arm every now and again, would you not just want to hang out at his house and just pick his brain?
Are you
He's
talking
super
about
smart.
You
He's
talk
fucking-
about the show in the movie, right?
Yeah.
Because like in the movie, he's literally sitting there in a suit, all
Yep.
dressed nice, but he's got this dude's head open, and he's classily eating this guy's brain.
It's hard to do. I'll give you that.
you know,
I might let him
With
cut
some-
my leg off and cook it for me. You
Dude.
never know.
Yeah,
need a
I'll
leg.
give him a toe for like a few sessions.
Yeah, just
I don't need more than one toe to make you a
He's
real
like, I'm
good
going to
view.
need more than one toe.
Maybe like a.
And Jesus
arm.
did hang out with those people, the criminals and the prisoners
did.
and the prostitutes.
Oh,
and
is that
stuff
not
like
ultimate class, dude? There was that point where the Pharisees were coming up to Jesus and it says, "Oh, you're hanging out with a prostitute? That's not gonna look good, baby. That don't gonna look good on that Messiah record." And then he said,
Messiah record.
"On your what do they call it, permanent record." But he replied to them. I wish I could do the exact quote. It is not those without sin that need the most healing.
Damn.
Thank you, Jesus. He hung out with the prostitutes because they needed help. He hung out with the sick people because they needed help. He's not going to hang out at a monastery where everybody's perfect.
Right. Damn, that's deep.
Because Jesus wasn't the kind of guy. I feel like, even though not being religious, he wasn't the kind of guy like, I totally just healed those people.
Right.
He's like, you know, I mean, he would probably use the word "I went to go help these people." I mean, it still sounds selfish.
I don't even know if he ever did. I'd be curious to look into that if Jesus
Yeah.
ever talked about I.
And his followers wrote it all again. Jesus didn't write
Right.
anything about himself. He was just preaching and walking around everywhere.
That's always a rough one, right?
Or
Because
sitting in a
like
cave
he's
going-
so fucking dope that he just refuses to even write about himself. or
Damn,
even about his
ultimate
life.
class.
Ultimate class.
It's never about himself. It's
God.
always about the lesson. And last week, I forgot to mention, we talked about science used to be just for the essence of science and discovery itself.
Right.
Same thing with psychological discoveries back then in
Sure.
history. It's like it was always just about the advancement of the message, the meat. The
Oh, that
message
is a big
the
one, right? Science when it
most
was
important.
real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
Doing
same
it for
thing.
the sake of everybody else.
It wasn't about I discovered this. It was just like I learned this, and now here's the knowledge for
Here it
everybody
is.
else.
God. Open AI used to be open, open source, but now it's for profit. Oh, yeah, I'd be surprised. Like that's the ultimate sign of class, but also it feels very divine to me in a faith-based way. I don't know if our atheists would feel the same about this, but it feels divine that much like Socrates, he was killed, but his stories needed to be told. His stories were meant to be told. Now you guys could say maybe there's other dope dudes who said, I'm so classy I don't write my own story. And nobody ever wrote a story, so we don't know about him. But I just think it's very interesting that Plato said Socrates is so dope that the future of humanity would suffer if they didn't hear these words. They would be missing the F out. He felt compelled. He felt drive to write it down. And in Jesus' case, like 4 dudes. Maybe even more. We're just like, wow, this guy's so dope. I know he's not going to write it down because he's classy, but I'll help him out.
Unless he was sitting in a room with these 4 dudes going, you write about this, you write about
Yeah,
that,
that's right.
you write about this. But I mean,
He orchestrated the whole thing.
talking about stories and stuff, it could go even like further back in like just pictures. You know, people left behind.
Picture's worth 1,000 words, baby.
Exactly, left behind the symbols and all the artwork and shit. You know what I mean?
Cave drawings.
Cave drawings.
Yeah.
You know,
The original story.
the original stories
Right.
with just a picture.
So that does, strangely enough, follow our belief, the same principle we've established that the story, almost before, didn't need to be about self. God!
Isn't it funny when you get close to the truth of something, how it just kind of loops back on itself over
Every
over.
time!
Infinite.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why philosophy is just fun. We never really get to an answer because it's really both. It's just like in a way, depending on maybe where you are in the quantum state, it's always been about I. But at the same time, it's just like the things behind the I almost is irrelevant.
Can I make a point about that?
Sure.
I think the Jesus thing, it's always the person who is supposed to write the book that everyone's saying, oh, you should write the book, and they don't do it.
Yeah.
And they're living in like, oh, you should. The should word pops up again.
Oh.
And it's funny because everyone says you should, but like that person's legacy ends up living on forever anyways, even though they didn't write anything about themselves. Like Jesus didn't write anything about himself, but he's got the most recognized name in human history, you could argue. So
Right.
maybe he should not have written a book about himself because otherwise we might not know who Jesus was.
For real. And it's funny how, to me, it's
Or
all tied in
Socrates.
with class like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
The
you should do
classiest-
it. And he's like, nah, I don't care.
But
We
but
remember
do
the classy.
yeah,
But
yeah,
do we
remember
really
that?
know who Jesus is?
Do we really know Jesus? Do we know his heart? I guess you'd have to think the words were divinely inspired or
Or
not.
build a time machine and just go see.
Yeah.
I think we'd know less if he wrote about himself because you're compelled to stretch the truth about yourself.
Yeah, you think he'd make himself
Yeah.
sound like an ultra badass?
That's deep.
You know, because you know how they said he turned water into wine, this bread and whatever into bread, and like he could just exaggerate and be like, I built this house.
But then
just
it
my
wouldn't be
magic."
what it is, right? Is that agreed? It wouldn't even need to have been because there was no class. Therefore, people wouldn't have regarded it as class. Therefore, they wouldn't tell the story because the story was already told by a egomaniac.
It wouldn't
Yeah.
have become a religion.
It wouldn't have became a religion. I could agree with that.
What if he was just messing with people, to Ryan's point, like, oh, how did you build this house so quickly? And Jesus could have said something like silly and just been like, I'm magic.
I'm
God dwells within
magic.
me as he does in you. And just could have been trying to make like a weird kind of on the spectrum joke, like out of character, like off color, and he was just messing with him. They took it literally, kind of thing.
Yeah.
What about
Like,
the
what?
miracles?
You're calling yourself the son of God. You're building houses in 12 hours. What if he was just a good carpenter or something?
And the
You know, that's
third
all
day, I'll build this temple again.
Yeah, or it's like people can say he was just a traveling magician.
What about the miracles, guys? You're forgetting the miracles.
All
the
actors.
miracles that happen in the churches today with the fake pastors.
Yeah,
It was
true.
easy.
You mean to say I will not
saying
listen
that.
to this blasphemy?
I'm sorry.
This word is
Don't kill
divinely
me.
inspired. Damn it, Marco.
If I'm not here next week, Mitch killed me.
I'm not suicidal. Can I say that?
I don't know.
I'm telling you, we
'Cause
could
I'm
say
saying I'm
things-
not.
I've heard so many things said on different shows. I feel like we're okay.
Right. At least that one feels
I feel like
better
it's a
because anyone could be. All right. Let's get into another topic that seems pretty fun. And we could always discuss these more, right? Those are always fun ideas to come back to. And I like the idea about ancient wisdom. It's a compounding show. Like every week we do get deeper, we do get smarter. We could reference old shows as well. And every time we move on with what we learn. But this time I'm going to do a little translation. A translation of an ancient text called the Tao Te Ching.
a boom.
There's a gong in there, but you just can't really hear it because it's quiet. But let's finish off with a little bit of Tao, y'all. See if we could get a little deep. Ancient Wisdom of Lao Tzu, Chapter 4. Drink from the Tao, and you never need a refill. A deep pool, the ancestor of the 10,000 things. It dulls the sharpness. It untangles the knots. It softens the light and is one with the earth. So clear and still that it appears not to exist. I do not know whose sun it is, the reflection of before God.
So real it appears not to exist.
So clear and still that it appears not to exist.
So clear and still it appears not to exist.
Much like Diwata.
That's translucent.
That, and I just...
Good word.
I think everything that chapter is trying to encapsulate is that it's all pointing back to being the most peaceful in the present.
Peaceful.
I already forget the line that I was trying to reference, but the present is so still that it seems not real almost.
So clear and still that it appears not to exist.
Right, and I think much like the present, and it almost seems boring. That's why we drift off into the future.
Oh,
or the past.
I like that. Yeah, so clear.
So still, clear,
it's
and
almost
peaceful.
as if it doesn't exist.
Right.
You know, and it's funny how life and the flow, it's literally called the flow, much like Deriva. It's Diwata.
The water flows.
The flow of itself and the stillness. And it's no mistake. Like, you guys, I'm talking to the audience here, of course, but it's just like, realize the depth of life, you know? The still water. It's all a story. It's all an archetype, even if you're not religious. Like, there's always depth to be found. So try to think deeply. The still water is also that which reflects the clearest. It was the ancient mirror. It looks back upon us. Upon still water, we see the reflection, but upon disturbed water, we don't see ourselves anymore, and we're lost. And we're also aware of its presence as well. When the water is disturbed, we see the waves instead of the reflection that could have been there. And what is life if not a reflection of self?
And during stillness and in a room where nothing's happening and nothing's moving, it's hard to identify that wave and constant ebb and flow and ongoingness of things when you're in a non-changing room.
The ever-eternal present, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why you wander off, because you almost think you're like frozen in time when you're in the present, like a box trapped in the present.
Almost like the waves bring you back.
Right.
Wow, that's deep. So that's the snapping.
And that's why people are
The wave is the momentary snap.
And you could maybe, I don't know if this could correlate, but people living on the beach having better zest for life and longer life expectancy because they're just
is that what they
happier
say?
by the waves and the water.
Yeah,
It is
more
a happier
tuned
place.
to it.
Yeah, you
Dare
feel
I
better.
say, yeah, for sure. Dare I say, like, attuned is a good word. Like, in the city, we don't see the natural, so we're not attuned to it. We almost don't see the symbolism of the ocean, which can be such a centering or Zen Tao thing, however you want to call it. But we also got ideas in here that it dulls the sharpness and it untangles the knots. Now, those could be different views of good and bad. I mean, those could be endlessly deep. So clear and still, it softens the light and is one with the earth. Sometimes maybe we want the light bright. That was just a thought that I had. I don't know. Maybe everybody wants to dull the sharpness. The sharpness to me feels like tension, and there could be different ways to translate these. Sharpness being sort of more of the word for acute, like an acute angle, sharpness, piercing, damaging.
And
Acute pain, I think of as well.
And untangle the what was the next part after
Untangle the knot.
that?
Now,
Untangle the knot.
that's a pretty good one, too. It's funny that you brought to that because untie the knots really has a similar translation of perhaps undo the disorderly. untie the knots. Another translation would be like undo the disorderly. It could be a physical knot, or it could represent a more metaphorical knot as well.
And I'd say it's basically synonymous to the dull the sharpness line, because
Right.
they're both about reducing suffering or reducing some kind of issue, some kind of problem. Because a knot is a problem, unless you want a knot, of course.
Right, unless you want a knot.
And a sharp blade, or a sharp realization in life, you might need it to snap you back into
Right.
reality, snap you back into the Tao.
The Tao is hard.
It's hard, man, because it's a tough one.
I'm stuck thinking on the first line and the last line. The first line, drink from the Tao.
Tao, and you never
Right
need
there.
a refill.
No, even just drink from the Tao.
Okay.
Like, what even
The
is
verb
the Tao?
drink.
Oh, yeah.
What am I drinking? Because then at some point it says the
Now
Tao,
we're getting
it says it's clear and what?
Clear and still that it appears not to exist.
Right.
What
It
am I
might not
drinking?
even be a thing. It might not even be a real thing. It might honestly be embracing the now, the present, the flow state. It's that. And but then the last line, the thing about seeing the other face or whatever before God or whatever.
I do not know whose son it is, the reflection of before God.
Yeah, what in the world does that mean?
Bro.
Oh, Evan's
wrote
mind
that?
was just blown.
That's
Oh.
crazy.
His name was Lao Tzu, supposedly.
Dang, that is so. Can you repeat that one more time?
I do not know whose son it is, the reflection of before God. Now, here's a fun note about the translation, which I've been filling you guys in about, because it's fun for me too, and maybe could go in the series of On the Tao Te Ching. But they don't really use the word God because this is ancient Chinese, so they actually use the word emperor, which, just to modernize, I use the word God because he means that, the emperor of all things.
Ruler.
Yeah, the ruler of it all.
But when you make it an emperor, you make it like a lineage.
Okay.
Right, like it's a human thing. So even though emperor can be seen as God, there's still that reflection of the man prior to the emperor.
But I think the more important is like the prefix EMP, because I think that's a route to like over encompassing like empire, emperor, empirical.
Yeah, but that's in the English.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
You're not
true.
wrong.
That's true. That's
Empire,
true.
yeah. But it's what is emperor in Chinese, in ancient Chinese.
That almost seems like that line is trying to. It's the ultimate class, by the way, that line, because I think it's trying so hard to separate you from God and knowing that you're not God. And in a way, you're almost uniting and becoming one with God.
And I find it interesting that even in ancient times, even in Taoist literature, same thing with Hindu and a few others, it's just like they don't ever disregard God. We're talking about the Tao Te Ching in the Tao in the Tao Te Ching, but how is it that they also reference God? Isn't that endlessly interesting?
Yeah.
And also it straight up says the reflection of before God.
The reflection of. Oh, I thought before as in before me, like in front of me.
No, before God
Before is
/ emperor.
Yeah, literally before the emperor.
What
that's cool.
that right before that,
I do not know whose son it is.
No, right before that line as well.
So clear and still that appears not to exist.
And the last line once more about.
The reflection of before God. So, yeah, definitely. It does mean the past. It actually does. Yes, it does mean the past.
That's what I've been thinking this whole time.
Reflection of
Like
Yeah.
it's like when you
God.
get those scenes in a movie when the character looks in the water and they see their younger self.
Yeah, so it's
know?
very interesting. Reflections.
Yeah,
still
like I've
water,
honestly been listening to you guys this whole
Simba.
fucking time and just trying
Yeah.
to put it together. And then once you said it does have to do with the past, I'm like, all right, I'm not going to sound stupid.
Yes.
Because in like it's a cliche thing in movies. When a character looks and sees its younger self, then the ripples happen.
Yes, man, they were deep. Lion King, killer, dude. That was fucking dope.
Fucking
It's contemplating death, I think, because maybe you're in that moment you're realizing that you are finite, but you can't. You're also in awe. You're in numinous.
Ah,
You have numinous
the
for
numinous realm.
the awe that you could possibly comprehend that God, something like God, could live forever and you're finite for such a short amount of time, and you're realizing that by looking in your reflection of your younger self. And
That
your
last
older
sentence almost seems contradictive.
You think so?
The rest of the passage.
The reflection of before the emperor.
Because now, before it was clear without reflection. Now you see reflection. All of a sudden, like what exactly? Or
Valid.
Or because you've attained some enlightenment, you can see the shadows of a past or something like that. You can see through something. You've attained a level of enlightenment, but I'm not really sure.
So I see it sort of as
Let's translate for me.
no mistake that they do use the word reflection. Even though I'm just learning this now, I do see it as no mistake that they use the word reflection as well as the word, like all this water symbolism. Clear and still that it appears not to exist. You could look through, but also when we look into water, it's about focus, right? Same thing as looking close and looking distant. Sort of what our eye chooses to focus on is a big one too. We could look through the image, or we could look at the surface of the image. But I think the enlightened one is aware of the Tao's existence while not focusing on it. Maybe that's what the water analogy is meant to say. Isn't that fucking deep?
That's
like
the
that.
way. Yeah, back to the waves at the beach and stuff like that. When you say you're going to look at the waves, it's like which ones are you looking at?
Be specific.
Yeah, and like what are the waves themselves, and why is it so common to watch the waves that are always around you, but these are just in a more visible to the human eye
Right.
form?
Life and death. And the reflection of before God is a tough one, before the emperor, because we're talking about something that, let's get scientific with it, right? They say the Big Bang. They say we can't see beyond the Big Bang when we look into the past. So dare I say, perhaps in the vision that we do have, this is deep, which is perhaps the present or the light that hits us at the present moment. Am I right, Ryan?
Yeah, you got me.
Oh, I'm so close. I'm getting there. It is nothing more than the mere reflection of before God. Because there is no before God, but it is the reflection there. Thus, now that is cool. When we look into the past, which we could physically do. Do you not like that one, Marco? We could physically see into the past, and we see what it is now from our state as the eye in the present, who's looking through the clear and still while still being aware that it exists in the first place, able to see the reflection. But what is the reflection of? The beginning.
Okay.
The God.
The time before God, before the Big Bang.
Right.
What is
We
beginning?
see its reflection, we see its shadow, but what is beginning?
What is beginning?
Oh my god.
Dinosaurs.
That's a deep one, my friend.
Some people so definitively say they know exactly what's happening. Like you'll see on the internet if you're scrolling, like, oh yeah, do you know you're living in a galaxy inside just a universe inside bubble universes?
Yeah, I do hate that shit. Did you know?
It's like that thing from Men
Did
in
you
Black. That dude opens the thing and it's like all the tiny
Did you
little
know you're
universes.
in Orion's belt?
Yeah. You're just in a bag of someone's marbles.
Right? Oh god. That dude blew my mind
Yeah,
as a
yeah,
kid. You're just wanting a marble in a marble collection. Whoa, man!
That's why
we're
that's why
so
the earth is
small.
spinning, bro.
Small,
We're
we
just
don't
a
mean
marble.
anything.
You heard, Mitch? We're just a marble
So
because that's why the
minuscule.
earth is spinning.
Oh
bro.
man, dude, it makes so much sense.
Oh, fuck those flat earthers.
We're just
I
guests
love
here. That's why we
nihilism.
can't overburn fossil fuels.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
we're running out of dinosaur bones.
So another fun translation is I said soften the light, but it also, light is directly translated, but soften can also be translated as something like make peace with the light or harmonize or mix with the light.
Or dim the light.
Perhaps even dim. That's why I say soften, but I didn't like the word dim because it's almost as if you are like it shouldn't be there in the first place.
Oh yeah, running away from it.
You know,
almost,
that's
yeah.
anyway the impression it gave to me. So soften was just like, I saw it as, here's my vision. Like, you got to see it in these visions. You really got, if you want to be deep, it's just like you have to have your own vision of what it means to soften the light. I'm trying to see through Lao Tzu's eyes, like how he would have wrote it if he spoke English. Like, you're sitting, you're watching a movie with your girl, and it's too bright. It's too bright in here, baby.
Too fucking bright.
Just dim the lights or soften the lights. Dim works too, I guess. Context. But soften the lights, baby.
Harmonize.
So I could see you just right, yeah. Or harmonize with the light.
What were the other words you said?
Harmonize with, make peace with, or mix with.
Harmonize and make peace with.
Harmonize is a fun one too, just because I like music, but it's just like be at one with it, be with the light. But then the light would need a more metaphorical context if it were harmonized.
You know what's funny? Sometimes another light combating the brightness of the TV light actually reduces the light.
Oh, man.
Because it relaxes your eyes by getting some light from over there.
Speaking of looking
Not
at the
just
stars, it's the same thing. You don't want the
Right.
light pollution. It dims where your focus is. So focus is a huge one.
Damn.
There's a reason why eyes have the iris and the retina and the blah, blah, blah. What are we focusing on? Because it really is true. You guys know what I'm talking about. I'm looking at the window right now. I could see the blackness through it. I'm aware of it. But I'm also aware of the reflection of the room because it's nighttime. You could choose what to physically pay attention to, but I think the wise man lives on two levels at once.
Whoa.
Deep, man.
Fucking deep, dude.
I like making peace with the light now most.
Making peace with the light? Make peace with the light. How do you see it as then? Do you have a vision of making peace with the light?
Making peace with death.
Your eyes are the perfect analogy. That's something you do naturally. Your eyes adjust. You could see well in the dark if you adjust long enough, and you
Right.
could see well in the bright if you adjust long enough.
And I suppose if they were way deep about it, even in the ancient past, you could say harmonize with the light. Harmony, wavelength, frequency, light is a frequency. Perhaps it is possible to literally harmonize with the light and be on the same wavelength as it is, but
Can you-
just vibrating slower.
Can you read that whole thing? Because I'm just trying to make something sound not stupid in my head.
The whole fourth?
The part about the light
Oh, yes. It softens the light and is one with the earth.
is one with the earth.
Yeah.
That's the part that throws me off.
Is one with the earth. It is one that is, it throws you off because it's not like the others. It dulls the sharpness, untangles the knots, softens the life, and is one with the earth. What could that mean?
Are you saying light or life?
Light.
Light. Soften the light and is one with the earth.
Could that be a comparison to heaven and hell, maybe?
See, that's what I was saying. I was thinking like I was
heaven.
I was thinking like I mixed it up in my head, but what I was thinking was make peace with the light, like, or with the earth, like you're in your dirt, you're in the ground, you're in the dark, and then you're making peace with the light coming out of that.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like I heard it different in my head, so it
Sure, yeah, you got to go with the vision, man, and
You know?
it almost kind of goes with Evan as well. It's like where, and it almost goes with our story. Wow, this is deep. It's where heaven meets hell. The light
Yeah.
is always seen as
Venn
heaven. The
diagram.
light
And the
shining
dirt.
and the dirt is also earth. And sometimes, typically heaven is obviously the sky, and then earth
dirt
is
is
earth.
hell.
Yeah, or yeah, it different traditions, of course.
Earth is hell.
Right. Or in the atheist tradition.
And to expand on that, I think the light and the knowledge thing and being in the middle balance, the theme of this episode, it seems like the more light you try to get, the more blinding and it becomes, because the infinite knowledge thing.
Oh, that's a good one.
And then, but then the too deep you go into hell and prioritizing yourself above others and the light,
right.
then the deeper into hell you go. But if you could find that balance of realizing that you're in this limbo between the two forever and just knowing about it, living in two worlds at once, as you said earlier.
Right. That's a big one.
That's the path of, that's the best path, it seems.
That's the best path it seems.
What
And it
I
is not
hear you
also
saying is, if we going up, we ain't going down.
Oh, that's a
That's
bad
right.
boy, right? You kill it, dog. So I also like the fact that it is reminiscent of the Tower of Babel as well, because like softening the light, it is knowing that one can be whisked away by, how you say,
Truth.
egoic.
Vanity.
vanity sort of egoic ventures, let's say. I'll put it that way.
Does this go back to the stories about yourself?
And that's when I defeated the dragon. Guys, this has been an amazing episode of Ancient Wisdom. If you made it this far, congrats. This has been episode Deuce Deuce. And who got the most points? Guys, I gotta give it to, sorry Ryan, Marco was the MVP of this episode. He killed it. He got deep tonight. He opened our minds, but I think we all did. We all deserve a pat on the back, and we all deserve a little bit of confetti.
Marco's very contrarian today.
Yeah,
He
didn't
was. I
snap.
like it.
He didn't snap much.
Yeah, fuck you, Marco.
Contrarian, what do you want?
God damn it, Marco.
Fulfilled
Shall
the
I
role.
spin?
Go for it. Hard.
Hard.
Oh, Marco's got a drink.
I knew it, dude. I
Marco's
knew
got
I was
a
going to
drink.
get that
Come,
one.
come,
I knew I was going to
Marco's
get the
got a
first
drink.
fucking one.
Do we have one here? Oh, he's gonna grab it.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
you gotta do it on camera, bitch.
On camera live, y'all
I
about
fucking
this.
saw it the other day. I feel like the person I'm going to win is going to get the shot one.
I love how Evan's been
I'm
getting
gonna
all
win
the
one of
mysteries.
these days.
And then Marco gets the shot. I was like, it was so close.
I wanted to go home and eat some
The
ramen.
ramen. Fuck. God, look how close he was to the sweet
I keep
ramen.
thinking that's a birthday cake, but that's a hat.
That's a hat. Oh, we came up with a fun one too, depending on what the viewers want to see. But like maybe certain people swap. What do we got here, you boobags?
You got banana flavored.
Banana,
that's
all
not
for
too
Marco.
Banana flavored liquor. I never think I've had that before.
All right, Marco.
Joke's on you. I like banana.
I bet you do, bitch.
You think you do. This isn't Runts Candies with the
Oh,
fun banana
shit.
banana in
He's
there.
got some inside knowledge.
Damn, calm me out. Frozen all the condensation on
Oh my god, Marco's having
Oh,
trouble.
he's too dry for the liquid.
He's got
My
the
hands are
banana
too
hands.
Here we go. Yeah, boy.
He got hands of bananas.
All right, y'all. Marco's and Patty chugged it down. This has been Ancient Wisdom.
Oh, he
Break
just-
the conditioning and return to Ancient
He
Wisdom.
does not like it. He does not like the banana.